Hello, everybody. Lisa Daly here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I am talking with Tammy Euliano, Dr. Tammy Euliano, who is the author of the brand new medical thriller, Fatal Intent, which I'm so excited about. This is such an amazing book. And this is your debut novel, right? This is your
It
first
is,
book.
yes.
How does that feel?
Amazing. It's been a very long road, and I'm so grateful to you and Ocean View and Fazia Burke and her group for helping it have a great birthday.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you said it's been a long road. What was your publication journey like?
Well, I started Fatal Intent, then called Do No Harm, several years ago, and quickly realized that I didn't actually know how to write fiction because I'd been writing technical stuff for quite a while. So I had to step back and take some classes. And then it started coming together, and I had a lot of help from other writers, from my parents and family and friends. And eventually it took shape, and I did some different pitch fest things and eventually met the Gussons, and they agreed to publish it. And so here we are a year later.
Wow, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So for the writers out there who, who are wanting to get published, you really can go to these, conferences, the pitch fests, and actually meet an agent or a publisher who might really want to, be interested in publishing your book. So we have a little comment here. Michael Chen is here. Hello, Michael. He says hi and congratulations to you, Tammy. Fantastic. So, Michael, if you have any questions for Tammy, you just pop them on up there and we'll put them in the chat. We are like simulcasting on like 3 different channels right now. So I think our comments are going to be like spread out all over the place. So, did you always know that you wanted to be a novelist, or is this something that happened later in life?
It was a later in life thing. I enjoyed writing, and recently my parents cleaned out their attic and gave me a box with some stories I'd written as a first grader. So that was an inauspicious beginning, I'd say. But I always loved to read, and I've been reading extensively since I was very young. But it wasn't until I finished writing a textbook with my mentor, and he said, let's keep going. And he suggested that we write a fiction book, and we started one. And he unfortunately got ill and passed away, but he'd started the fire. And so I have now definitely become addicted.
Well, and so here you are, your very first book, which is a medical thriller, Fatal Intent, is launching today. So tell us a little bit about this book.
It's about an anesthesiologist who comes across some unexpected patient deaths and feels compelled to try to figure out why that is. And everything seems to line up against her. But she perseveres along with some colleagues and friends to help her along the way. And so it's a little bit about rising above and sticking to your guns and overcoming adversity. But it's also about dealing with the end of life and how that should happen without actually saying how it should happen, but presenting different angles and hopefully stirring a little bit of conversation on that topic.
Well, I think like one thing that really good novels can do is, sort of bring the conversation out into the real world. And so I think it's pretty cool that this is a topic that you've really touched on. So one of the things that you may or may not know is that first novels are often very autobiographical. So, Spill, I lost my earpod there. So Spill, what do you have in, how are you like your character, or are you?
I 25 years ago am like Kate. As far as her career is very much modeled after my own, her love of teaching, her use of the patient simulator. But she has had quite the painful life with being an orphan and having her husband in dire circumstances. And I have not had that sort of life. I have wonderful parents and family and a very much alive husband, although he keeps accusing me of killing him in my books. So similar careers, but very different personal lives.
Mm-hmm,
Other than the
mm-hmm.
love of dogs, we share
Right.
that.
Right. So that always sort of seeps in, doesn't it? I will say all my characters love margaritas. That's all I'm saying about that. That's all I'm saying about that.
Does that
Michael's,
model you as well?
yeah, a little bit. So Michael, certainly the first one did. Michael says you definitely have to be a reader to be a writer. That is absolutely true. What are some of your favorite medical thrillers, or some of the authors that you really like in your same genre? That if you were a reader and you're like, I'm not sure about this book, like you like this book, you also like Fatal Intent.
Tess Gerritsen, definitely. Kathy Reichs, they write books that are along the same lines. Michael Palmer has actually written some books on a very similar theme. I think I write quite differently than he did, but similar themes.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite authors are Louise Penny is amazing to me, although I can't possibly write like her, but I thoroughly enjoy her series. And Lee Child and Harlan Coben. Those are the ones I read a lot to sort of get into the flavor of thrillers in general, and the pacing.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of pacing, this is often a challenge for first-time authors, although you did a really nice job with it in Fatal Intent. I always ask this question of authors because it fascinates me, and that is, are you a plotter or a pantser? Meaning, do you plot out your novels before you write, or do you just sit down and let it flow?
I am, as I've heard before, a plantser. So I start off with a basic plot, and then the characters go absolutely not the way I've planned, and it ends up not where it was intended. But so I try to plot out at least 4 or 5 scenes ahead, and then see where it goes, and then start from there and plot out the next 4 or 5 scenes. I generally have the complete arc figured out, but along the way, and the subplots, they always evolve in ways I would never have predicted. That's right.
Which is part of the fun, right? That's part of the fun of writing.
Absolutely.
So what was the thing that was most terrifying about today, your launch day?
Most terrifying?
Yes.
Doing things live is not something I'm familiar with. I did a radio program this morning that was just, I didn't realize it was going to be live. So that was a little bit interesting. I don't know. It's anytime you're doing something you've never done before, the unknown, but it's been wonderful. I'm so blessed to have such a great support group. My husband came home and made me lunch, which is the first time that's happened in years. So yeah, I'm really blessed to have such a great group of people behind me.
Well, you are a famous author now, so.
Well, yes, of course.
So when you were writing the book, how long did it take you from start to finish to write Fatal Intent?
Oh my goodness. Probably 10 years from when I first said, I think I'd like to write a novel, but it was starts and stops, because I started and I was still very involved at work, working full time, and then some. And so I really didn't have any contiguous time to learn how to write at that point. But so I'd probably say the last 5 years have been very intense trying to get it out. And I've worked on a couple other books in between, so it wasn't continuously on Fatal Intent, but it is my first. And so the first one I wrote and the first one I'm getting published. So that's very exciting.
Awesome. So what was it like when you first got that box of books, right? When you see it, hardcover?
Very, very cool. I took a picture of it and posted it and sent it to all my friends. Yes. In fact, the publisher didn't tell me it was on the way, and so it was just this big box sitting on my front porch, and then I realized what it was, and I was very excited, and one of my kids came by and snagged her copy before I even had any out of the box. So yes, it's very cool. I had written a textbook, but it was always paperback, so this was my first hardcover.
Well, and fiction too. I mean, first, your novel be in hardcover is super exciting as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. Well, I am so glad that we had a chance to talk about your new book today, because it's such a great read. It's got there's so many really interesting things to, to think about in this story. And you have a really, like, obviously it's kind of a shock to have your book come out in a pandemic. And since this is your very first book release, I'm sure you're kind of like, well, what's normal, what's not? So instead of the traditional book party, you are going to be doing a Zoom book launch party with Murder on the Beach, which is one of my favorite indie bookstores here in Florida. Fantastic bookstore. So tell us about that event. That's going to be on the 10th of March, right?
Yes. And Jenny Milchman, who is an author that I met at Thriller Fest, and she's always been very supportive of me and helped me a lot through this whole process. She agreed to do it with me. So she's going to be talking about one of her books, her newest book, The Second Mother, and I'll be talking about Fatal Intent. And when she wrote her first book, she went on what's been billed as the world's longest book tour, where she threw her kids in the car with her husband and they drove all over the country doing live events. So she has lots of experience with this, and I think she'll be wonderful to talk live with.
Absolutely. I mean, she's a terrific writer. She's got a number of books out. And the other thing that's really, I mean, she's like the perfect person for you to sort of learn the ropes from, because she's, I think, pretty much won every like award in thrillers and a bunch in romance too. So she is a good person to know for sure. So I think that event's going to be really fun to attend. For those of you who are interested, the event is free. You'll just get your ticket for the Zoom event from Murder on the Beach, and there are details in the description below. We have Helene Mario, another fantastic author, is here today, and she says, "Happy book birthday, Tammy."
Thank you, Helene.
Thank
I can't wait to meet you in person.
Well, you're both Florida authors, so I'm sure that you guys will meet soon. Her book is absolutely fantastic as well. She's got a new one coming out, which I'm very excited about. So, fantastic. Well, Tammy, thank you so much for being here today. Good luck on your launch. It is an amazing book, and I hope that for all of you who are interested in Fatal Intent, you can definitely check out all the details in the description below. Fatal Intent is on sale now. Oop, we have another congratulations. Joan Long. Yay, says yes. Happy Pub Day, Tammy.
Thank you. Another Florida author.
Oh, fantastic.
Soon to be published.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Joan. That's really amazing. So yeah, so I'm really thrilled for you. I think this is going to, your launch is going to be fantastic. The event is going to be great. Joe McCarthy says, "Way to go, Tammy."
Thank you, Joe. He's a buddy from college. My goodness.
Wow.
Thank you for making time to join us.
That is absolutely fantastic. That's so cool. So I know it's really good when, when your friends and family are coming out to support you. I think that's such an amazing thing.
It is. It is wonderful.
Well, congratulations. It's a terrific book. I hope if you're interested that you will check it out today. And also there is that great event happening with Murder on the Beach on March 10th. And there's information in the description below about that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Tammy. Congratulations.
Thanks. Bye.